This is Devin with Writing Daily, the show that talks about all kinds of aspects of writing, whether it is writing more or writing better or getting your novel finished. And today, this is episode 101. Today, we're going to be talking about some topical things in the news, most specifically the suicide of Anthony Bourdain. And I'm not a political guy, and to be quite honest with you, I wasn't really familiar with his show all that much. I have, and by the way, welcome Autumn, good to see you. I tend to not get into the morose topics of things. That's just for my own sort of well-being. And I'm not entirely sure what I want to say, so I'm going to try and feel this out, and I'm going to try to keep it short. But I think what I'm seeing is that, you know, all over social media there's reports of not only Kate Spade but Anthony Bourdain, and lots of people love them. And I keep reading over and over again how surprised people were by what had happened. And you know, I guess what I want to kind of discuss today is, first off, is that I tend to be like naturally like a little bit depressed. That's kind of my natural state. So I have to really work and be conscious of reaching out to other people, being of service to them, because the more I'm in my head alone, I tend to, I have the ability to, like right now, my life is totally fantastic. And for the most part, things are good. Guyan, good to see you, man. I tend to, I have the ability to get caught up in my own headspace. I mean, that's one of the joys of sitting in a small, dark room by yourselves, you know, writing out essays and stories and novels and all that stuff. And that's something that I do, and I'm happy to do it, and it's part of the deal. So I also have to be really conscious to take care of myself when doing that. That means I need sunlight, and I need exercise, and I need to see friends, and I need to be of service. Probably that's perhaps the first and foremost thing, is that I want to go out and do that. And so I guess in talking about Anthony Bourdain, and I mean, unless I hear otherwise, I'm assuming this was a choice that he made. He was probably in an awful place when he made that decision, and it's a very sad. I think it's a very sad choice to make, because I think on the surface anyway is that, you know, I've been sitting here for the last several hours trying to kind of, you know, what did I want to say? I was initially going to completely ignore it and just talk about some sort of generic writing thing, but here was a guy who was tops in his field in travel and in food and in television. And I think from the outside perception is that he kind of had it all. Like if you go to his Amazon page, there's just page after page after page of books and TV shows and cookbooks and travel things. And, you know, from the outside, I assume, most people that I speak to assume that this is the career that you want, and that if I had these things, everything would be great. And clearly, that's just simply not the case. That success and money and adulation isn't necessarily a defining factor of happiness or contentment. I don't know. I'm not even going to guess about where his life went or what direction it was. What I do know from a personal standpoint is that during the course of my life, there have been points where I have been very, very dark, and I've had the ability to sort of write my own eulogy in my head. And I guess that's what I was talking about, that under the belief system, in this weird headspace that I've been in, that if I had all of the trappings of, say, an Anthony Bourdain, that somehow it would be fine. And I think what it is that I get these choices during the course of my life of whether or not I want to align myself with, shall we say, for lack of a better description, a higher good, or do I want to kind of go to some sort of the easiest path? In other words, do I want to give my book one more rewrite, or do I just want to say, screw it, and then drop the whole thing? Which when I tend to say screw it, I tend to get into all kinds of other weird places with life. And so I wish I had some sort of a thing. Like there's a part of me that wants to know, why would a guy who had that much celebrity and success not want to call for help? And maybe he felt he couldn't. I don't know what the circumstances were. And I certainly hope that he's at whatever peace. And at the same time, I want to say this like really loud and really clear. The national suicide prevention number in the United States is 800-273-8255. And, if in the outside chance you are in a dark place, please consider calling that number, calling a friend, even if you think that they don't care or they're not willing to listen. I think I'd be willing to bet that you might be wrong on that. And I think there's a lot of people who do care. Just again, going back to what happened today, I think something like 20% of Facebook feeds are all about Anthony Bourdain. And so I think the important part is not to necessarily be idolizing all of his choices, because I think, to be quite frank with you, without getting too political, I think he made not a great choice. I think there was 50,000 other things he could have chosen to do than to kill himself. But that said, I really do, I feel terrible that here's a guy who has so many gifts to offer the world choose to take a path that is unsafe. And, because what I don't want to see is that somebody think to themselves, well, here's a guy who had everything and I'm going to choose a similar path because I'm not even going to be able to attain the kinds of things that he did. And I think it's just kind of really important to at least acknowledge that for me, this is his path, even though I've had those kinds of thoughts, are the things that like I'm going to spend my time avoiding at all cost. And how do I do that? I talk honestly about my own foibles and failures. And by the way, Edwin, welcome. Gary, welcome. Brian, welcome. And so it's this slippery slope. Again, I don't judge him for doing whatever he needed to do. I feel terrible for the people who really knew him and loved him. I feel bad for his fans. And I think, again, it's like the only lesson I get to personally learn from this is that the success, the sort of like the success of television shows and book deals and all that stuff isn't the thing that's going to fix me. My own experience is that the things that really work is that I try to stay close with the people I love, who love me. I tell the truth, even though it's kind of sucks and it's uncomfortable. And I surround myself with people who are committed to leading a good life. And so that's the kind of thing that where I'm at today. If you are struggling, reach out to friends and family. And if you feel as though that's something that you cannot do, then consider calling this support number. I'm going to give it to you again. Hold on, there it is. It is 800-273-8255. That is the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline phone number. I'll say that again, 1-800-273-8255. And by the way, like if you can't call anyone else, then call me, because, I don't know. I'm no expert at all, but I'm going to do my best to give you a whole slew of reasons that you can just do any other thing other than make a choice that will, that you cannot rebound from. And people who do love and care about you are going to be devastated by. So I've been touched by this myself upon a rare occasion. So I hate hearing about it. I think it's awful. And, whether you are a writer or just, a good person, whether you feel misunderstood or not, know that people do, in fact, care about you. And again, the last thing I'm going to do is read that one last time, 1-800-273-8255, the Suicide Prevention Hotline. You will always have somebody that you can talk to. And that's all I've got today. I think we're gonna try to return back to regular writing things tomorrow. But for today, I hope that you find gratitude and happiness and a way to get out of your head, however that you choose to do that in a fun, productive way, because there are great choices. There's lots of goodness around us. I mean, I know it seems bleak some days, but there is a lot of wonderful people doing wonderful things in this world. And I would love to, if you're having challenges, I would love to see you join them. So anyway, that's what I've got for today. No eulogies today for any of us. Let's have a good day out there, and many blessings to you all. And hi, Carrie, hi, Morgana, and hey, Denny. That's what I got. So more writing daily tomorrow. Take care.